Imagine waking up to your calendar full of confirmed bookings, payment already handled, and follow-ups to your customers running on autopilot while you were sleeping. Well, this is the reality for one of our clients. This is a $15,000 AI system we built that handles 617 calendar bookings per month. This isn't one of the chatbot that just answers, "What's your working hours?" and calls it a day. It's a fully deployed multi-school, multi-channel system that has actual conversations, books trial lessons, process real payments, send reminders before the lessons, and send follow-ups to the customers with the appropriate subscription offers, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars with GDPR compliance built in. By the end of this video, you will have free access to everything behind the scene. I'll begin by providing some background on how we connected to the client, the problem that they're facing, and how we propose a solution to solve them. Then, I'll be doing a live demo interacting with the live AI agent. After that, I'll guide you through a visual walkthrough of both the inbound and outbound workflows and the processes behind the AI agent. And finally, I'll give you a detailed walkthrough of the entire NA10 setup. If you're new to this channel and don't know who I am, my name is Edwin Chen, Oxford postgraduate, Voiceflow certified expert, and the co-founder of Legacy AI. Over the past year, we've partnered with 46 different businesses like the one you see in this video to eliminate their operational bottlenecks through our chat and voice AI agents so they can focus on working on the business, not in the business. So let me give you a bit of a background. A few months ago, a music producer reached out through my YouTube channel after seeing my interview with Liam Motley where I was breaking down the front desk and revenue recovery agent. He's connected to multiple dance schools and they were all basically drowning in hundreds of inquiries every week across WhatsApp and Gmail, and their small team just couldn't keep up. And by the way, if you're also interested in working with us, feel free to book a free discovery call with me and my team with the link in the description. Now here's the thing about their business. Their entire teams are dance and music instructors. They're talented teachers, but their entire day schedule is based on teaching students, not sitting on the desk to help answer questions from the customers. Let me show you their entire customer journey and where it was breaking down. A parent sees the website or find them on Google. They send a WhatsApp message or email about the classes for their kids. And this is where it breaks down. The message sits on either WhatsApp or Gmail, and these instructors are busy teaching classes. Maybe they see it during the lunch break, maybe they respond in the evening, maybe they just forget entirely. If they do respond, it's a lot of back and forth. What age is your child? What experience level? What location? What days work for you? 5, 6, or 7 messages just to figure out what class to recommend. Then they have to book a trial. They're manually checking the calendar, suggesting time slots, waiting for the parent to respond, send them a cal.com link to book the lessons, then another message with a Vivato or Stripe payment link to collect the deposit. And even if they go through all of that, there's no automated reminder system. Parents forgot. Trial no-shows are off the roof. And if someone does show up for their trial lessons, there's no automated follow-up to convert them back to a paid membership. So their options were pretty limited. The instructors can either do it themselves, but clearly that wasn't working. You can't teach a class and sit down and respond to a WhatsApp message at the same time. And frankly, great dance instructors aren't necessarily that great at sales and customer service. That's not why they got into the business in the first place. Or you can hire a dedicated in-house PA or receptionist for each location, but now you're paying someone a salary of £1,000 or £2,000 a month per location and charged by the hour. Also, since those dance schools are based in France, it has to be able to speak in both fluent English and French, making outsourcing pretty limited. And they're only available during the business hours. But inquiries coming in at 10 p.m. when a parent is scrolling through their Instagram after putting their kids to bed. Plus, if the receptionist is sick or on vacation, you're back to square one. On the other hand, AI agents come in with pretty big advantages. They are charged per messages, it speaks in fluent English, French, and other common languages, and can sound exactly just like your brand. So it's a super scalable, affordable, and reliable solution. Now you understand the benefits of using such an AI automated system, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to the agent live. So there's 2 versions of this, the WhatsApp and the Gmail. They're both very similar to each other. So I'm just gonna be working with the WhatsApp version for now. I'm just gonna go and say, hey, I'm interested in your dance class. And we say, hey, nice, we would love to have you. We've got classical, ballet, contemporary, Broadway, jazz, tap, etc. You're looking for adult classes? What style are you interested in? Yeah, I'm interested in adult classes, and I like jazz. And I like maybe contemporary actually. I don't really like jazz. We have got several like adult contemporary options. We've got basically the adults and teens at Monday from 6 to 9:30, 9:30 to 20 to 9 p.m. Can I ask what the classes will be? Would you like? Just so I have an idea. Classes usually start with a warm-up on the floor to work on the spine, breath and core, standing exercise. Level is open, beginner friendly. The teacher explains a lot and you can go at your own pace. Just bring comfy clothes and snacks. And you can tell me your dance experience. I can suggest daytime feedback for you as well. So yeah, I have no experience in dancing. I do want to try Saturday 17. So basically 5 p.m. Lots of people have zero experience, you'll be fine. For adults, trials will pay €22 for 1 hour 30 class. Just come in 20-50 minutes. Does this Saturday work for you? Yeah, that's fine. No online booking needed for this trial. Okay. Where do I pay? You'll pay directly at the studio when you arrive. They take payment on the spot before class. No need to pay online. So this is for the trial classes, right? So what if I am actually existing member and I actually want to buy membership, right? What if I want to buy membership? So it's got two main options. You've got the annual membership and you've got the class drop-in. If you think you'll come every week, the membership is usually the best deal. If you're not sure about your schedule, class cards are more flexible. Want me to send you the link? So I'll be like, yeah, sure. Send you the link. As you can see, this is basically the Vivato link, where this will actually take me to, this is in French, but I'll just translate it to English, where I can see the different, basically, classes available. And then I can actually go ahead and if I buy the manual course, I can basically go ahead and choose the class schedules if I want. And I can go ahead and put it in the basket and I can go ahead and actually pay through this website, essentially. And yeah, this is basically a quick walkthrough of essentially how the workflow is being structured at the moment. So now let me walk you through the visual walkthroughs. There's two components of this, inbound and outbound. For the inbound, it will be through inquiries coming in through WhatsApp and Gmail. For the outbound, it will be for both cold and warm leads. The warm leads being the leads who actually come through the inbound, through the WhatsApp and through the email. And for outbound, there's also cold leads where the school will add the leads into the database themselves, and that should trigger the outbound cold outreach campaigns, essentially. So let me walk you through how we can structure this workflow. We started out by creating the knowledge base, which basically contains, as you can see, the FAQs, the school's information about the classes, the schedules, etc. And this is done through the NAN, which is an automation platform, which is categorized by the school name because there are multiple schools in different locations, the data, and we embed them using OpenAI and upsert it to a vector knowledge base called Qdron per school. Then we have the WhatsApp chatbot. In the WhatsApp channel, we will get an increase from the customer. And based on the number, we'll basically be able to map and get the school name because each school, aka each location, each dance school, will have their own WhatsApp number. And based on that, we will know and map out what school the customers is trying to reach to. Once we receive the message and we know what school is being determined, we then, from a database, we have a database called Superbase, which is a structured database. And that database basically stores the school-specific information and the prompt. So based on that WhatsApp number, and once we map out the school, we can able to fetch the school-specific info and the prompt. The reason why is because this is meant to be a super scalable system for multiple schools across different locations, right? So if we have basically 100 schools, that means there will be 100 different prompts for each school because each school, aka each location, will have different business logic and their lessons and schedules will be completely different to another. So that is why they are very, very specific to each school, and we need centralized and scalable way of dynamically fetching the school-specific prompt. So each prompt goes to a specific school, and therefore we need to be able to fetch the prompt dynamically from the Superbase. Then it passes through our agent, which has the prompt that we just got from the Superbase, and the school information and context. Now the agent, filled with the system, with the school-specific system prompt, are able to do the thinking and do the response. It has three tools they can call. One is the Qdron, which contains very, very specific FAQ information about the school. It has Cal.com, which can go and send out booking link. It also has connection to Stripe, which can send out Stripe payment links if needed. Now, for the school that I showed you, that school does not use Cal.com or Stripe. It uses something called Vivato, which is local to that specific school. But there are other schools which uses Stripe and Cal.com for the payment and the booking lessons. And now the agent has used the tool. If it's yes, then is it Cal.com or Stripe? And we basically save that tool call progress inside the database and we log it inside the database. If no, then we save the conversational history to Supabase and we label it the channel WhatsApp so we know which channel this lead comes from. Basically, the agent responds to the customers, essentially. This is the WhatsApp. The email is very, very similar. We got an email inquiry, and then we use a Gmail trigger node inside NAN that sends the incoming message to the NAN workflow. The first step is we filter out any spam because not all emails coming in legitimate inquiries about lessons, right? It could be spam messages. And we basically filter the emails based on the spam and then we filter out all the spam. But also at the same time, certain schools often get marketing or partnership opportunities. And that is why we need to filter the emails based on keywords. If it's in the keyword, aka for example, if it's marketing or partnership, then we'll send it to a secondary email where the human team can follow up with them. If it's not actually marketing or partnership, aka it's actually useful message, then we basically map and get the school name again based on the email that received the message because each school has its own unique email. So we know which school the customer is trying to reach out to. And again, we fetch the school information, the context, and a school-specific prompt from Supabase, the database. And we inject it to the agent. It has different tools, and we'll go through the exact same flow as the WhatsApp workflow. This is the inbound. For the outbound, aka /follow-up, we basically have a table, which I will show you in a bit, inside Supabase. Based on certain business logic, we will know exactly when to trigger these outbound automations. Once this is triggered, we create a follow-up record for the user, and we set the time for the next follow-up depending on the specific case. We send the request to our NAN, our automation workflow. We have a template that was provided to us, and we need to format the template based on the message. Then we need to schedule the message of the follow-up to be sent. And when it is time, the workflow will automatically send the follow-up or the outbound message to the respective channel, whether it's WhatsApp or email. I'll explain it in more details once I've actually shown you the NAN setup. But for now, let me show you the Supabase. So this is Supabase, which is basically a master database for the entire multi-school system. So let me talk you through the different tables that we have. So we have the organizations, which is basically a parent structure, and each organization can have multiple schools. For example, we have this Paris Maristan School, one of the examples, which has a specific school ID with a specific organization ID. That's how you link it back to the organization table. It has the address, the contact, the opening hours, the website, email. You've got the specific booking link, which wasn't used for that specific case I showed you in WhatsApp, but it is given out in certain very specific bookings. You also got the payment link, which is for the Stripe, etc. As you can see, you also got some specific details in here, which you can see in yourself. And there's basically different school channels. There's only 2 for now, for WhatsApp and email. As time goes on, they would like to add more channels as well, for example, through the SMS, through the Instagram, for example. And we basically have a place to indicate if this channel is activated or not. Then we have a table called school prompts, which basically means that for that specific school, we have a school ID. We can fetch the appropriate prompt based on which school the customer's emailed to. This is the place where we can dynamically fetch the entire system prompts, not just specific to the school, but specific to the channel. Because the way that you talk in WhatsApp is different to how you talk in email. So that is why we have the WhatsApp response agent with the system prompt. We can go through some of them later on when I show you the NAN workflow. And we can see if it's active or not, and we can see the channel, whether it's WhatsApp, email, or if it's actually a follow-up, aka outbound. And we have the bookings, which actually indicate when a customer has booked a lesson with us, and we have this specific user ID. And this is actually done through the user, which is the user table. The user table basically logged all the user which had a conversation with the AI agent. So we know the name, we have the email, we have the phone number, depending on which channel they are from. We have the source, right, whether it's WhatsApp or email, and we have the direction, whether it's inbound or outbound. So if it's inbound, we know that they contacted us first, whereas outbound is the organization contacted them first. And yeah, this is basically the leads table. And each table we have an ID, aka the user ID. And that is actually how we can know which user actually talked to the agent and actually booked a lesson. And we also have the conversation table, which actually logs the entire conversational history based on the user ID and the specific school ID as well. And yeah, and we have the follow-up table, which is basically to log down all the times the agent has done an outbound message to the user. And we log them through the user ID, the channel again, how many rounds of follow-ups do we need to do? In this case, it's 3. The interval hours, aka the time between each round of follow-up. So if I send a follow-up today, I'll send the next round in 24 hours, send the next round in 24 hours, and send the next round in 24 hours. And we'll use the status whether it's active or inactive. Basically, with outbound messages, if the user said stop, we have to legally stop, right? We can't just spam people. And that is where we will turn the status from active to inactive. Basically, we have 3 timestamps. We have the created at, when the lead was created, we have the updated at, and we have the next send at. And based on the next send at timestamp, which was calculated based on the intervals and the created at, right? So we know the time needed to send the next follow-up. And based on that, that will actually set the trigger. This time will actually set the trigger for the NA10 workflow. So hopefully this gives you some sort of structure on how we're kind of structuring this to be more scalable across multiple schools. And we have multiple NAN workflows. Let me walk you through the WhatsApp triggers first. So we have a trigger. Whenever we receive the messages, then we basically send it to a NAN workflow. It's pretty simple, same with the Gmail. Once we receive a Gmail trigger, then we basically send a request to the corresponding NAN workflow with the messages from that Gmail. And we basically have the WhatsApp workflow. Let's talk about the WhatsApp NAN workflow first. Essentially, once we receive the message, again, based on the information, we will be getting the school info based on the number that the customer was texting to. And we'll also be able to get the WhatsApp channel, right? We know what the channel is from the school channels table. We can then determine is the WhatsApp active or not. If it's not, then we just ignore the message. If it is indeed active, the WhatsApp number is actually an active number, then we will be able to dynamically get the prompt from the Supabase, right, as it's specific to each school. And then we will basically do some formatting, and we will also fetch the user. This will basically determine if the user is a new or existing user. If the user does indeed exist, right, then we just go through and actually fetch the conversation history. If the user doesn't exist, then we will go ahead and add the user into Supabase. And we will fetch the conversational history. And then again, if they're a new customer, aka is a brand new customer, most likely they haven't had a conversation with us, then we will go ahead and create a conversation and log it inside Supabase. If the conversation already exists, it goes straight to the AI agent. Now, this is the AI agent that has multiple tool calls. First of all, it's connected to a Qdrum vector store, which is for the FAQ. It's also connected to cal.com, which is actually able to fetch all the available events, aka lessons for that specific school. So what they actually did was, you know how during the demo it was able to fetch all those correct time of the lessons? That was done through cal.com. So the client has already, for each specific school, has synced their calendar with cal.com, and that's how we're able to fetch all those available class slots through the AI agent back to the user. And again, it's able to fetch all the available schedule based on the events. It's able to save the booking, check the booking of the user, update the booking in Supabase, book the trial classes themselves through cal.com if needed, and save the email in Supabase. So we basically save the user and we structure and output it a little bit more formatted, more correctly, basically. So I can walk you through a little bit about the system prompt of the agent, which is basically the prompt being stored within database, right? We have a system and user prompt. So the user prompt is really simple. It's just from the user from a number. We send a message, and then we have the previous message, which is based on the conversation history. You have the user ID, and you have today's date. That's the user prompt, right? But the system prompt is actually what determines the logic. So I can go through the prompts again, go through the school prompt, and then we can actually have a little look. And we basically have the WhatsApp response agent, right? You're a friendly and helpful customer service agent for this specific school. Your role is to customer WhatsApp messages with kind of warm introduction, right, etc. And then we have basically a chain of thought, which is a step-by-step of the prompt. We analyze the message, we check the tools, right? We read the tool's description, search for the information, and identify what to do next. This is kind of like the high-level structure the agent should follow. We have a GD-compliant rules that it must follow, which is, for example, only collect process and personal data that is strictly necessary, never share customer data, etc. So we also have a detailed structure of like data that they can process and data that they cannot process, etc. Right? And let me go through some of the fluff. This is a lot of just GDPR compliance stuff, but let me go through the actual source of the conversational history, right? So we have a lot of the class schedules in here as well, but the most important part, I guess, is actually the workflow, right? Which is before doing anything, follow this chain of thought. Again, you basically analyze what is the customer asking for, what do they need? Are they asking about information about our class? Are they asking about booking trial, registration or annual subscription, pricing information, or schedule details, right? Then you check the tool. What tools do I have access to? Do I have email tools, booking tools, payment tools? What can I actually do? Against what do I need to redirect the booking system, especially for an agent with that many tools? This is very, very useful to have. And you instruct the agent to read the tool description, do the search, and identify the action step that it can do, essentially. And it will basically return a JSON of the response and the tool that's being called within the specific agent. And same with the email, but I will go through the email in a bit. The AI agent response, we add the message to the conversational history back to Superbase, we log the entire workflow, and then we send the message on WhatsApp, right? So hopefully this is, I know it seems a little bit long, but like ignore the specific step. It should be pretty straightforward. It's just retrieving information and then having an agent which has multiple tools that it's calling, I know, but that is why we have such a detailed prompt, and then send the message back to the user, right? This is basically the WhatsApp workflow. I can also show you the Gmail workflow, which is actually very, very similar, right? So we have the spam filter to determine if it is spam or not based on the AI model, right? It's an email classification agent that can basically filter anything that is not inquiries related to dance schools and studios, basically, right? If it passes, basically, then we get the school information based on what email the customer is emailing to. We get the email channel. Again, we check if the email is active or not, and the rest is really roughly the same as the WhatsApp agent. However, if it's not true, if it's false, then we get the school information and we filter based on keywords. And this is basically to filter out if they are a marketing or partnership, right? So if they are marketing or partnerships, then we know it's a social media collaborations, brand partnerships, and business alliance. And if they are indeed those, then we send the email response to basically a secondary email, essentially, right? So again, this is the human would do that. The AI won't do that. But the AI will only answer questions about inquiries about dance lessons or schools information, etc. Right? This is essentially how the email agent is being structured. And finally, I would love to show you the follow-up flow. Again, we have the wait node, which means that it is waiting at a specific time that's being sent from the webhook, right? Through the follow-up table, we know exactly when to send it. So we just pass this information from Superbase to this NEN workflow. We format it, we fetch the conversational history, we then message the model, and to see if it's follow-up decision, you're analyzing conversation to determine if a follow-up message should be sent based on the conversational flow and previous follow-up attempts, right? Because we basically have two options. It's either should proceed or should proceed false, true or false, right? And it should return should proceed false only if the user has successfully booked a class, session, and appointment, and the user has completed the desired action, right? Like the enrollment, payment, and scheduling, and the user has explicitly requested to remove from all communications unsubscribed. So we should not do the follow-up if they've already booked a lesson, if they've kind of finished the actions that they needed, or they don't want to be contacted at all. And if they should proceed, aka the agent should proceed to do the follow-up under these conditions. So basically, a lot of this is essentially they have started something, they have shown interested, but then they've ghosted the company, right? So we're trying to win back them. We're trying to do some win back or follow-up sequence to make them want to continue back on the customer journey. And this is the agent that decides whether or not it should send out that message to the user, right? And it's analyzing based on the conversation history from Superbase, if you remember. If it's false, then we update the follow-up record and basically set it to be inactive and just call it a day. If it is indeed true, aka mean that we should follow up, then it's going to go ahead and fetch the prompt from Superbase. Remember, we have a school prompt table with the follow-up message generator. And based on the user, the channel, and the follow-up round, and the industry, which is dance education, it will go ahead and generate the message in JSON, right? With the specific information, like if it's round 1, which is a friendly reminder, Round 2, which is more direct with benefits, and round 3, which is the final gentle nudge to remind the user to do certain actions, for example, continue booking that lessons if they have shown interest in a lesson but haven't actually booked the lessons. That's the prompt, the generator, that's going to go ahead and do the prompt. And it depends on if the channel is email or WhatsApp. If it is WhatsApp, then we're going to go ahead and send the WhatsApp, update the follow-up record in Superbase, so basically save the conversation in the conversation history. If it's not WhatsApp, aka if it's email, then we're going to go ahead and send the email response in that and follow exactly the same step, lock it back to Superbase. So hopefully this has given you some sort of a general walkthrough of how we think about structuring this conversation. It's a lot of back and forth between the Superbase, which is the master database that stores basically everything, the prompt, the history, the leads, right? And whether or not it should do a follow-up, etc., right? So yeah, if you're interested in having similar systems being implemented in your business, you're more than welcome to use the link in the description to book a free discovery call with me and my team. And yeah, if you enjoyed this kind of content, remember to like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.